Hello, everyone. Welcome to the network. Welcome to the Two Dads edition.
Wait, that's not it.
Start again.
Two Dads, Gen X edition. That's a great beginning.
Oh, well, aren't you cute, little exterminators?
If I get another Three Musketeers, I'm gonna kill myself.
I'm throwing at you.
You're not throwing candy at me.
Come on, dude.
No, dude. I'm on a diet.
Come on. You're recording, right? Okay. I'm just double checking.
You're recording, right? Yeah.
No, I mean, it's your favorite cat. You can do
It's
one.
no.
It's just one.
I'm not. Yeah, you throw one, it happens to hit my tooth and chip it, and now I got to spend thousands of dollars on
Do
the
I
dentist.
fucking look like Thor or Captain America that I can throw so hard
Doesn't
with
matter.
a piece of candy and chip your...
It doesn't
Dude.
take a lot. Bones are really strong, but they're also very brittle.
When did you become the wussy?
I'm not a wussy.
Don't throw the candy at me, little boy. It's going to kill me. Chip a tooth. You think that's going to make somebody like you less? You know what? You're getting a fucking piece of candy thrown at you. Trick or treat. Come on, say it. Say it. Trick or treat.
Trick or treat.
Right in the nuts. Oh, you know,
You're ridiculous.
I loved Halloween. It's like one of my favorite holidays.
Yeah.
And I think it was just because you get to dress up, you get to go out and get candy. Okay, it really was just to go out and get candy.
It was to get candy.
Get candy.
Yeah, the dressing up was like the requirement to get the candy.
Yeah,
But it was all about the candy.
and you're like, it's so poor, and so candy was like rare. I mean, most often I think I told you that like pudding packets was our treat, and I'd like hoard them and like
That's right.
then I would like do the whole bite and I'd sneeze and it'd go and the whole room would get covered in chocolate powder. My mom's like, "What is all over your floor?" I'm like, "Oh, dog did it."
Yeah, right. No, but like because I grew up in New York as a kid, and so it was we would go trick or treating, and we would like one of the things that we couldn't do is we couldn't have like a paper bag or a plastic bag because half the time it was raining,
Yeah.
But
Well, it's not that you couldn't have it. Nobody wanted a paper bag or plastic bag because a plastic
tear out.
bag is what, a quart, a gallon?
well, we would
2 gallons?
we went out for candy.
Yeah.
I mean, we weighed the candy. We didn't count it. We weighed it because we get so much. And then, but we'd always throw away we'd get like popcorn balls, like the
Oh, yeah.
caramel,
yeah.
or somebody would do like some
Caramel
homemade something.
apple,
Yeah.
brownies.
Cellophane wrapped brownies and stuff. And
Cookies
it's like,
the size of your head. I mean, we had this lady that literally would make these jumbo cookies.
mm-hmm.
And they weren't like those flat, like you just pound it down and they're like tiny thing. I mean, they were like, they're like fucking plate of brownies.
Wow,
like-
wow, that's pretty
And
cool.
you wrapped it and stuff like that.
But yeah, the paper bags and plastic bags, after a while, they can't handle the weight. And so we started using pillowcases.
Well, I think everybody did. I mean, and it was like we actually had custom pillowcases.
You guys did custom pillowcases?
Yeah,
Well, I
like-
guess I made that for my kids when they were little, but
Well, I didn't like bedazzle it or anything like that, like you see nowadays
You
or
did.
anything.
you know you did.
And bedazzle, was bedazzle even a thing back then? I
No.
love how I look at Jason like you would know. He had a super bedazzled case. No, I think mine was either Transformers or Ninja Turtles. It was like a specific pillowcase.
You had like Transformer and Ninja Turtle sheets?
I think so. I don't know. I'd have to ask my mom.
Man, you had more money than, well, I mean,
No, you could get that shit. Like it. Oh god, well, it wasn't Savers at the time. I don't know. There was like an Aldi's type a store back then, and they would have sheets for like $3.
yeah, we just had sheets.
Yeah. Man, I'm like really racking the brain. I'm like, man, I
think-
just
I
know
think-
it was just like a longer king size, because king size pillowcases, I don't remember it really came out till
Right,
later.
yeah.
But I remember when we got one, it was God, it was awesome because it's like we had a regular pillowcase because pillows were tinier, I think, back then, and so like they were like that, right? And I come running up with this king
It's like
size.
the average height of people has increased over the centuries. It's like, yeah,
Our
pillows
heads
were
have
small
gotten
too.
bigger. And my friend's like, whoa, where did you get that one? And I'm like, I don't know. Because why is it much bigger than mine? I'm like,
That's what she said.
Down the road, we're going to be saying that a lot.
Right, yeah. No, but it was one of those things like how late would you go out well, when did you start trick-or-treating?
Obviously,
like during the day?
Obviously, time-wise?
Yeah.
I mean, it had to be like dusk, like starting to get dark, almost dark. So, I mean, you're looking at like 8:30, 9.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
How late would you go?
Oh, until people stopped answering. And I think it'd be like 11, midnight.
Yeah, there were a couple of years it was like 12,
I remember
30.
we had this guy come out with a shotgun. He's like, I'm out of fucking candy. Get out of here. We're like, okay.
I probably
sorry.
should have been arrested for that.
And then we like look. We're like, oh, damn, it's 11:30. We probably should go home.
Yeah. No,
now it's like the common courtesy is you just, when you're out of candy, you turn your light off.
Yeah, no, we really don't have any more candy.
It's funny because that's one of the few days of the year that the street's like black. Like all the lights are off because everybody else normally has all their lights on.
I make sure that I have tons of candy to give out. By the end of the night, when it's like the last 3 or 4 trick-or-treaters, I'm taking the bowl and I'm like, there's nobody else. Here you go. And they're like, you know,
that's the goal is you're out enough late that people are like, screw this, I want to go to bed. And they're like, you're like, score.
Well, and like we had, because it was a nice neighborhood. There were a lot of big houses and stuff. We would get full-size candy bars sometimes.
Yeah, we never did.
You never did?
Not until we moved to Kansas.
Man, it's awesome when you get like a full-size Snickers or something like that.
Because where we grew up, it was almost like, for people that live in Kansas City, it was like the Troost area. It wasn't, well, probably not the Troost. Yeah, I mean, I'd say kind of like, maybe like the Waldo area.
Okay.
You know, it's some nice, but not too nice. Yeah. People that can afford a house but really can't maintain. But of course, now you have everybody moving in and converting all the houses.
Right.
But yeah.
So, like, did your parents go with you?
Originally, well, I was the youngest of 4, so I think my mom would. I think my mom would go a couple times. My dad maybe. But, you know, after 5 and the divorce, and then it was just usually my mom, and then it got to the point where she had to work, and so then it was my siblings. And then eventually, I think around 8, 9, you were just with your friends.
I don't think my parents ever went with us because we weren't allowed to go trick-or-treating, if I remember right, until we were like 5 or 6 or 7 or something like that. But we would go with siblings or friends or something. But I remember in New York, it was like 8 years old, 9 years old, and there'd be a couple of friends, and we'd be like, yeah, we're going to go get all this candy. And we'd go. But, yeah, my parents weren't with us. Sometimes I'd see, like, my siblings out there, you know, a couple of my brothers, whatever.
Yeah.
Or I'd be with them, but, like, yeah, it'd be like a small gang of kids.
Well, yeah, and it was like the cross pattern. I mean, you think of Halloween kind of like, you know, it's Stranger Things. They're running out there and doing all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of funny. You talked about how, you know, you have gaggles and gangs of kids,
mm-hmm.
and it was kind of funny. It made me think of me and my brother and my sisters, and by then my oldest sister had a kid, so then she would kind of do her own thing with Ashley.
Sure, yeah.
But we would have that cross pattern. We were like, you're crossing 2 streets, and you go, oh, hey, wait. Oh, you just went down Twilight? Yeah. How was it? Oh, it fucking sucked. Don't even bother. Oh, yeah. Hey, Waldo Street? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. Big bar, go down there. And so you're like, you change your pattern based on the feedback you're getting from other kids on where the big bars were. And
yeah, so we didn't do that. We had like a map that we would map out where we would go.
You had a map? Was it like an actual city map, or did you draw it with crayons?
No, it was like a city map kind of thing. We would go through and be like, all right, did we get this neighborhood? What about that street? Did we get that street? And we'd make sure that we hit every single house. Yeah, but we'd come home with like 30 pounds of candy.
Yeah, I mean, I think the pillowcase would generally be either half full or 3/4 full.
Yeah. Oh,
and,
yeah.
And you're just like,
wait, the king size one?
Yeah.
That's a ton of candy.
So much candy. So much candy. I mean, and the funny thing is you would. I mean, it got to the point that we're like, don't go this way. This one sucks. That person has baked goods. Don't even bother. Because sometimes they'd bake it like 4 or 5 days in advance. Yeah. And so like the popcorn ball would be hard as a rock.
Stale.
The apple would have so many dents in it, or you'd take a bite and the razor blade would fucking cut your mouth.
Oh, dude. I remember the warnings. They would like do TV like commercials and stuff. Like, make sure you go through your kid's candy because there might be, razor blades or needles, or like I guess there was like straight pins that people would put into them sometimes. I never found any of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean it was bad.
And I tried
in Utah. There actually were people that hated kids, and they sadly were putting poison and like it's funny to say rat poison, but that's just warfarin. It's basically a blood thinner.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah,
make them bleed out, and so they were putting that into candy bars. And so I remember my mom, like, we'd pour the candy out and we weren't allowed to eat any of it, and she sat there for hours inspecting it for needle marks, and she would find.
Did she actually find
she
stuff?
Would find some, yeah.
In all those years of trick-or-treating, I had never... I mean, we would take anything that was, like, partially torn, we'd just throw it away, but...
To be sure, I don't know for sure. It was, like, those are the candies she wanted. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, this one's definitely bad.
It's like, Mom, why are all the Snickers in that pile? No, but she really did. And she would show us. She's like, oh, this is what you're looking for. And then we would start looking, and and it actually sadly kind of became tradition that you get your candy, you'd be home by 10, kind of thing, and you'd pour it all out and you'd share, and it was kind of funny because it was almost like crop sharing, because it's like you'd pour it all in this giant pile.
We didn't.
The siblings.
Oh no. We kept. I mean, we would like sort.
Oh yeah, of course. We still kind of tried to have.
It was just ours. We would trade.
Scott go take a crap. You'd
yeah, right. It'd be like,
throw a couple more in his.
Like, hey, you got a Milky Way Dark. I'll give you 5 sweet tarts for it.
That did not exist yet.
That's true. But it's like a Milky Way, and it's like, I'll give you 5 sweet tarts.
Yeah, sweet tart. My sister Sandy.
Well, here's Pixie Sticks. I'll trade you for.
She loved the sweet tarts, and so she wanted those. Look at the Jawbreakers.
Yeah, I was a chocolate and gummy.
Mine was almost a lot of these candies here. Twix, Kit Kat. Kit Kats were my demons.
Yeah, Kit Kats are.
Now it's like, I'll get one of those bags, and it's so sad because I'll eat the whole bag in like 2 days, which is like 18 candy bars.
You throw them in the freezer?
I do.
Yeah.
That and Snickers.
One of the things that I think is interesting now, though, is that, like, wow, we just crossed our legs at the same time. Like, because I work late, when I go to work, I go to work at I start work at like 10, but I usually am working until 8 o'clock, 7 or 8 o'clock. So I'll go home and I'm like, all right, trick-or-treaters, I've got 6 bags of the 500 count, whatever, the play mix, whatever. And I'll get like 7 trick-or-treaters.
Well, my cheap ass will buy the half-pound shit candy. And I actually have kids come up and look at it.
Mints and one life.
They'll come up and they'll actually sift through it like you do at work.
You do that and after being a kid,
and they're like, okay. And you're like, ugh. And then I've actually heard kids go, "This place fucking sucks."
I'm like,
and I do it on
handfuls.
Purpose. I'm just kind of a dick. I'm like, because it's just funny to hear him like, asshole. I don't know why I find that.
You're the grumpy
funny.
old man in the neighborhood.
I'm poor, man. I can't afford it.
Here's a Tic Tac.
Waste so much candy. And the funny thing is, I do remember. Maybe I don't know. My mom can correct me, and she will. I feel like my dad would hoard some and save it for the year later to give to
I totally do
kids.
That. Yeah. Yeah. Are you kidding?
Oh my God.
Especially because I get home late, I get 7 trick-or-treaters now, which is why I do big handfuls.
So
but it's I got a bag of the play mix or whatever it is, and it's all the trick-or-treaters are done. I've got a bag and a half of candy left. And it's like,
so really you just told us that you buy a big candy every year, but now you just admitted that you bought one.
No, that's what's left.
And you're just reusing it every year until it's gone.
I am not one of those.
The poor kid opens it up and all the chocolate's white. because it's so old. The caramel's like caramelized and chunky, and he's like,
No, but it's frustrating because like there've been a number of years where I'm like, okay, it's not dark yet.
And you're
I'm gonna
giving
get
me shit for
I know,
crappy
but it's like
candy.
I'm gonna get trick or treaters, but it's like once it gets dark, no trick or treaters are out anymore unless they're like 18-year-old kids who are just trying to like get candy.
Well, and that's the point. You're just like doing what we wanted.
Yeah.
Just dump it in, turn your light off, and move on. I always feel bad because sometimes when I work Halloween, being a nurse, I won't get home till like 8.
Yeah.
And I mean, I had one where
I'm specifically
my
taking
pumpkins
work
were
off.
smashed, and my mat was thrown in the yard, and because they were pissed my light was on.
Oh
And
yeah.
there was no candy, so I was like, "Oh crap! I forgot to turn my light off." No wonder my house was vandalized. Kids don't vandalize people's houses just because they don't have candy. Come on, man.
Yeah, but it's frustrating because like
No reason for that.
parents take their kids out like an hour after school's over. Nobody's home from work.
Oh yeah. I mean, I know where we used to live in Wingate. People would literally, kids would run home from school at 3:30, get their costume on, and start going trick or treating at 4.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no one's home. They're like,
Right.
it's okay, it's cool, we'll still be out. It's like, okay.
Yeah. But and then they use like those plastic pumpkins now that can hold like 2 pounds and that's it.
No, that's good though.
No, dude, we had pillowcases because we were hoarding like 30 pounds of candy.
Yeah, I mean it's changed a lot, and the funny thing is it's
Yeah.
changed so much with peanut allergies and all these allergies that kids are magically allergic to now, which that could be a whole episode.
Right.
So it's
Honestly, I think it's the parents at this point.
well, it's good. I mean, it's good that they're not letting their kids have pounds and pounds of candy that they're eating till Easter, and then they get more candy at Easter.
No, because psychologically, what happens when you are not allowed to have something that you want?
Well,
you want it more.
Yeah.
It's like parents who like try and get their kids to stop smoking. They make them smoke the whole pack at once. Same thing with candy. No, eat as much as you want. Here, yeah, okay. Oh, you have to go throw up now? Oh.
So did your parents do that to you?
They didn't stop us. They said not to eat a ton of it, but
No, I meant the smoking, and then if you drank,
Oh, no,
you
I
may
never
drink
smoked.
a whole 12-pack.
dude, I don't smoke. I don't
And then if
drink.
they caught you on porn, you're like, okay.
Why'd you have to go there?
It's actually a comedian. He goes, yeah, man, my dad, he's a hard ass, man. It's like he caught me smoking, so he made me smoke a whole carton of cigarettes, threw up, never smoked again. Caught me drinking a beer, he made me drink 24 beers, threw up, never did again. Caught me masturbating. Yeah, that one I didn't mind. It was pretty fun.
But no, like as a kid, I mean, yeah, we would eat until we were sick. But like 30 pounds of candy, it wasn't quite 30 pounds, but like 15,
Now
literally
I know why
15,
we're
16
overweight.
pounds. Yeah, right? Well, yeah. But like, it'd be gone in like 3 days.
Yeah. It's funny.
It's so bad.
So how do you parent? Like, I mean, really just, what did you do with your kids? I mean, when they went trick-or-treating and stuff.
So like when my kids were little, I'd go with them. But usually it was like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. It was still like when it was getting dark.
By 8, usually.
Yeah. I had basically the rule, like once my kids were 13, 14 years old, I was like, all right, you're getting too old. Now you get to hand out candy. Really, that was me being lazy because I didn't want to have to hand out candy. But like my kids, when they were like 16, they're like, oh, we're going to have I'd let my kids do a Halloween party at the house,
Yeah.
totally decorate, do the, fire lights, all kind of black lights and stuff like that. And then they'd hand out candy as they do it. And then there, a couple of them were like, once the party was over, then they would go trick-or-treating for an hour. And I'm like, all right, just be safe. But I wasn't, my parents were not the helicopter parents where it's like they have to monitor everything and make sure, there were 10 of us. My mom didn't have the capacity to watch 10 kids all the time.
Yeah.
And so and back in the 80s and stuff, it was like, what do they call it? Free range parenting now, free range kids, that was just normal childhood. So I tried to give my kids as much of that as possible. And then, but then you tax the candy, of course, because
that's later.
that's later. Yeah. But yeah, so I wasn't very restrictive. I'm the one that encouraged them to use pillowcases though. So
Yeah, I think I did one year, and it was like musty or misty, not musty, musty.
yeah.
It was so musty out. Everybody was so dirty. No, it's like misty. So like their pillowcase when they got back, it was just like their pillowcase was wet,
Yeah.
and like half the candy was jacked up, and the kids were pretty upset. So that's when we went to the pumpkins, and the pumpkins they could hold easier as kids.
Yeah.
And really, it just became for them. It was kind of like almost like the Easter basket. You have the same basket every year.
Mm-hmm.
For them, it was kind of like a tradition to have the same pumpkin.
Yeah, I think there was one year my first wife, like we had the kids decorate pillowcases
Oh, yeah.
with like puff paint and stuff like that, and they put their name on it. And
Bedazzled like Jason.
bedazzled like Jason's. And yeah, but that way it was like the same thing every
Jason's.
year, and because it's like puff paint, you take it out of storage and it's like sticking together.
Yeah.
But we did that for them. But like with costumes, and stuff like that. What were the kind of costumes that you had as a kid? Because they've gotten a lot more elaborate now.
I most of the time, because we were poor, it'd be a sheet, cut a hole through the eyes to be a ghost, and then your mom would be pissed because you cut a sheet in the hole. And then
You'd cut a sheet in the hole?
Yeah, I cut a sheet in the hole.
Okay.
And then I would. My most creative one, in my opinion, is I had a brown long trash bag,
Yeah.
and I just put it happens. And I like glued peanuts to it and like cauliflower, and
Okay.
so I just kind of looked like a big piece of
Big,
shit.
big,
But shit happens. And it was funny, the adults would open the door
mm-hmm.
and they're like, what are you supposed to be? Like, a lot of the women would be like, I don't get it. And
The dads would
the
start
dad would
laughing.
come around the corner like, that's pretty good. And they're like, what is it? And he's like, shit happens. And she goes, oh. I'm like, she doesn't fucking get it.
No. We'd make them out of what we had. So
Yeah.
like we used the trash bag and then like duct tape and put M&M on it.
Yeah.
Super cheap, super easy. But like I remember one year I grabbed my dad's, like, he had this brown, red, like whatever striped robe.
Oh yeah.
And so I'd go around the robe and like tie a towel around my head. And so I went as like Moses kind of thing.
Did you have a cane?
I did, yeah.
Giant wooden stick.
But it was a stick that you got out of the, you didn't like go and buy it. You'd go find one, right?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time you're trying to do a sheriff, so you already had like the toy guns and the fake hat. Stuff you already had.
Well, and
the
we had
military guy, the football player.
Well, because we had, I had 9 brothers and sisters, we would have like a box full of costumes, and when it was time for Halloween, we'd go into the box, and we would find, my older siblings would be like, "Yep, this one's mine," and it's like, "Oh, I was gonna do that," So we'd have to come up with whatever with what's left. But my parents didn't go and buy costumes all the time.
Yeah, now it's like, you're spending $100, $150 on these costumes for these kids. And honestly, when they were younger, I didn't mind because they would still kind of do cosplay and wear it throughout the year and do different stuff. I know, especially Kira. They would do that a lot, and her friends would come over, and they'd have sleepovers, and they'd put all the costumes on.
Right.
And so I really didn't mind, doing that for them. But like, as you grew up as an adult, did you dress up to hand out candy?
Sometimes. So there was one year where like my first wife, I was the vampire and she was the vampire hunter.
Oh, there you go. Van Helsing.
Yeah, but it was and so we started, we'd get costumes for my kids, but they were typically cheap stuff anyway. It was like Walmart, $10, $15 kind of thing. But then as my kids got older, it was like they were putting together $100, $150 outfits.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now.
Made no sense.
I mean, now for Halloween, we always try to go to a big rave party kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Different restaurants will have like Halloween. The Well was really good down in Waldo. They would always have a big Halloween party. And we would start theming, and then we have a friend that has this huge Halloween party that he actually converts his whole house into a haunted house.
Oh wow!
The whole house.
Nice.
I mean, they put foam board on the wall. I mean, it looks like a castle when you walk in. It's so fucking cool, and every room is a theme, and it's so amazing. And we used to go to that every year, and they would have a theme every year, and whoever had the best costume won Chiefs tickets. And so it's like,
Dang.
you were motivated to go. And
I need friends like that.
we had one year like, hey, let's go all as Toy Story. Let's all go as Army Men. Let's all go as famous dead people. So I was like the alligator hunter guy. And then it was like, yeah, because he just passed away. So it was him. And then Jason was the Mr. Clean, the OxyClean guy, because he fucking looks just like him. My ex was Aubrey Hepburn, you know, kind of thing. So that was pretty good. And then we had like the mad, just random stuff. So I was like a mad scientist, and I found a cocktail that would actually glow. And then I put dry ice in it, and so it like had a giant beaker, and it was this glowing cocktail, and I'm drinking it. And of course, people were putting Jello shots in it, and just kept pouring it, and ended up being like a suicide drink. But like, and I had my hair, and I actually took a blowtorch to the lab jacket and like fried half of it.
Nice.
So it was half burnt, and then I took black paint and like scarred it, and then tissue, and made my hand all warped like I got burnt. My hair, and I actually lit my hair so half my hair was singed.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was.
Man, you were all in.
Chiefs tickets, man. It's
That's
like,
true.
I want
That's
Chiefs
true.
tickets.
Yeah.
But it's funny. I like now I have two costumes that I just rotate. The pirate one that I bought an actual custom made naval jacket from 17,
like a petticoat kind of. What do they call that?
So I have that and a
Peacoat?
sword, and I actually bought Gandalf's staff, Gandalf's sword, and I bought a monk robe from like an actual Tumbankan monk robe.
Yeah.
I think I wore it on the Jedi episode kind
Right.
of thing.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, that thing was heavy.
And it I mean, that thing was like $300. That jacket was $300. And like my ultimate goal is to get my Mandalorian suit,
That'd be cool.
which is like $1,800.
I think one of the best costumes that I did for like 4 trick-or-treaters for like a week before Halloween, put a chair on the porch and did it like a stuffed person. Like I had my jeans, like it was like a scarecrow kind of thing with a pillowcase mask kind of thing, gloves and all that, and stuffed it all. And then on Halloween, I dressed up in it and sat there with the bowl of candy. And as the kids would come up, I'd go, "Only one!" And the kids would just go running.
Yeah. We had a neighbor, man. He actually built a trench next to his porch. And so he did the exact same thing. Had like a Jason sitting there, not our producer, but like the killer guy. And I mean, he would have been pretty scary too. And so he's sitting there, and the kids would come up, and he would record it of them coming up and like going really slow, and then he'd pop out of this freaking hole in the ground. It's like, "Don't take his candy," but he's like dressed as Freddy, so they're like, "Oh my god!" And there's one kid, man, he'd like try to grab the bowl and miss, and the bowl of candy goes flying everywhere, and they're like, "Get it!"
Well,
He's distracted. They're all running in, grabbing the candy.
Well, 'cause there were like little kids sometimes that would start crying, and I'd like take the hood off, and I'm like, "It's okay, it's just it was on Fort Gordon. This was when I was in the Army."
It's funny,
But yeah, it was great. Kids would like freak out.
I love those homes. I mean, we had a home that they converted their whole house into a haunted house, and that was actually probably the only place that actually had full-size candy bars. And you'd have this line literally down the block to go through this haunted house, and you got, and if you made it through, you got a full-size candy bar, and I think in a Pepsi or something like that, and it was just cool.
Isn't there like a haunted house challenge where you have to like sign a waiver because they can actually like touch you and like?
Oh, there's one in Utah that you can win $10,000 if you survive.
That's the one it is.
But it's like Saw. Like they actually research your background and
really truly
it's
freak
psychological.
you out. Yeah.
They psychologically fuck you up, and no one's been able to do it. It's like 3 levels, and somebody got to the 3rd level, but the 3rd level because like they actually have real spiders, they have all this stuff, and no one's made it through.
That's crazy.
But they use stuff from your life. They'll have like
mine would be
your
like
dad yelling at you. It's like, "You're really nothing," you know.
Yeah,
it's
it
like,
just
holy crap, that
it
would
would
mess you
be
up.
like women just saying, "You're nothing," you know. That's what mine would be.
It should be like,
Start crying.
"Just shave it, dude. Just shave it."
Yeah.
Just
Shave what? What are you
just
talking
commit to the baldness.
about? I have hair.
It's the
I
lighting.
don't have a forehead. I have a 9 head. That's all right.
It's like mine, where I have the gray here and here, so it just
Yeah.
looks like I have like this weird emptiness right here. I'm like, maybe I should dye it for Halloween.
Just go with it.
I am.
Oh, you mean for Halloween? Well, like, what would you dye it?
Definitely not, a color that would label me as a certain political class, but, probably just like red like yours.
You want to be more like me?
Yeah, I do. I do want to be like you.
Aw.
I want to dress up like, ooh, that's what we should do for Halloween.
Dress up like
as
each other?
Jinx. So did you ever hoard candy?
No, but when I was a kid, well, I did, of course, but like, because I've got, I don't have a sweet tooth. I've got sweet teeth, and so candy's been the bane of my existence as far as like.
That's not a sweet tooth. I'm a sweet mouth.
Yeah.
The whole
you got
mouth.
such a pretty mouth. No.
Those those teeth come out.
But no, I would have candy all the time. I remember like as a kid, and this wasn't during Halloween, but I would like, my dad would have these big bins, like cookie tins, right? And he would just throw his extra change in there. Oh. So I'd go through and I'd grab quarters, and then when my mom would leave to go pick up like a brother from football practice or something like that, I would hop on my bike because we lived on Popham Road in Scarsdale. Popham, yeah. Popham. And so it went right down into Scarsdale Village, and then there was this little like 5 and dime shop where I could get $1 or $2 of candy, and then ride back. And I would get home. So like as soon as my mom would pull out of the driveway, I'd hop on the bike, and it was 5 minutes there and back, and she'd be back in 7.
That's funny. You're like, go, 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 go.
Yeah, and I would fly down the road.
So what was your first dog's name?
I didn't have a dog until I was an adult.
Okay, your first pet name.
I'm not giving you password stuff. Fishing. No. What's the name of,
Just give me a pet.
It's like on TikTok and stuff, people are like, hey,
is your
everybody check
password really
in,
the
tell
name
me
of
what
your
city
first
you're
pet?
in. No, it's not.
Okay,
but like,
then just tell me.
No.
There's a joke here. Go with it.
All right. Grayson.
Grayson?
Grayson.
So your porn name is Grayson Poppin. Poppin, whatever your
What?
street is. Your porn name's your
Popham?
Yeah, Popham. Your name is Grayson Popham. It's your first pet in the street you lived
so
on.
Stupid.
So mine was Tuffy Twilight.
I had a clearance in the military, and they would train us on phishing scams and stuff. And so like on TikTok, Yeah. People are always like, hey, like there's the genx dad or the genx community. There's the veteran community. There's the dad supporting dads kind of stuff. And it's like, just checking in. Tell me where you're from. It's like, fuck no.
I always say Canada.
Well, I'm not going to tell you where I'm from. Tell me what your birth month is.
Canada.
No.
Canada.
It's like, let me give you more. Would you like my blood type? I can give you my social if you ask. I'm sure there are people who would be like, hey, give me the last 4 of your social. And then what's your first 5 of your social?
Can you do that for us, please?
No. But people do that.
I actually had a patient tell me his blood type was C.
C?
I go, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I go, do you have your card so I can see it? And he goes, oh yeah, man. Pulls it out. It literally was O. I'm like, that's an O, right? He goes, no, it's a C, man. That's an O. You're O positive.
Yeah, it's like, you may want to go and talk to
there's no C, and he's like
ophthalmologist.
And he literally argued with me, and I'm like, all right, fine. You have C blood.
You got C blood.
Whatever. I'm not doing this. It's like, I'm gonna test it anyway to give you your blood.
The problem is he's probably a dad.
It's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh man, the guy was like 25.
Right.
So, hoarding wise, I don't remember hoarding, but like hoarding. I don't remember hoarding out. Hoarding, but it was funny. I actually did hide my candy in the freezer.
In the freezer?
It was the one place none of my siblings would look.
Really?
Yeah, I always put it underneath, like the noodles and stuff, like stuff that no one would ever touch except for my mom.
So we respected each other's candy because we didn't want anybody stealing our own.
Yeah,
With my kids though, it was like,
Oh, I still there's my kids would be like, "Stop taking the candy I like."
Well,
like, well, you're not eating it. It's because you are.
The sad thing was, like,
Sorry.
my son would go and take his sister's candy, and they'd be like, "What happened to all my candy?"
Dad ate it.
Well, and they would look at me, and I'm like, I can go buy my own, But my son always denied it every single time. There was one time, like, I would let my kids, if they wanted like a pie or something, and they had money, I'd give them. I'd let them buy a pie. Yeah. There's one time I had cameras in the house, and my daughter came to me the next morning. She's like, "Somebody ate a piece of my pie," or and so I had a camera that they faced the entrances to the house,
yeah,
but they also happened to overlook the kitchen. So I pull up the camera. You see my son come up from the basement. He had a room in the basement, and he's like going around the island, and then he opens the door to the fridge, and you see like he turns where his back's to the camera, and he goes around. But the camera overlooked the island too, and so he like puts it on the island. You see him like taking bites, and I'm like, dude, really? And so I call him up, and I'm like, all right.
And you close it and go, I don't know who ate your kid.
No. Well, and so I called him up. I was like, do you have some of the pie? And he's like, no, everybody always accuses me. And I'm like, no, dude, there's a camera, right? I don't eat people's stuff. And so I pull out the video, and I'm like,
that's not me, man.
No. And then he goes, well, it's the first time I've ever done that.
That's always the thing. Well, I've never done it before. I'm
right.
Like, but you just lied about doing it this time.
Yeah.
So now you're lying about never doing it before.
And I mean, I would like take a piece or two from my kids' candy stash just after Halloween.
I would just fucking take it.
But I tell them if they're like, who took my
it.
candy? Oh, I grabbed a piece or two.
Yeah, I did it for the longest time, and then Kira finally just was like, "Can you stop taking the candy I like?" I'm like, "Oh,
that's the stuff I like.
We'll make a pile of candy you don't like." So they actually started making piles for me, but which is kind of funny. But
I just made sure that the candy they're about to give out to trick or treaters was the stuff that I liked, so that when there's leftovers, it's like
that's
all
what
right.
I do
Or like I would do the Milky Way, the Snickers, all that. The little. I know, right? That I stopped buying it too soon because I'd go through a bag. But the mini like chocolate bars, the Snickers, and Milky. I'd pull all the Milky Way darks out.
I love those.
None of the kids that came trick or treating got any of them.
And a lot of kids don't even like those. And
I know.
So my funny is I would hoard the candy, buy it, and then I'd have the bowl, and I'd buy it too soon, like you said. And so I just put everyone have left. So I had like 4 or 5 pieces of candy, and I put it in a bowl, so people thought it was already been gone. Because I'm like, I don't want to freaking go buy more candy.
Well, the thing is, everything is so expensive now. I mean, we talked a little bit about like you buying a $300 robe for a costume, right? Yeah. But it's like the candy is all.
Yeah, when you're buying $100 of candy for other people.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind. It's the whole idea of trick or treating.
It's become commercialized like everything else.
Of course it is. Yeah.
And I think it's disappointing because, like, as a kid, it was all about the creativity and the imagination of coming up with something
new, and
now
going
it's like,
out and being with friends and enjoying the night. Kansas kind of sucks because it's always rainy. It's either super cold. I think since we've lived here, we've only had maybe 5 super like nice Halloweens, and those are the ones where you go with your kids, and we take our kids out. We'd actually have a wagon, and we'd actually have like a booze wagon, and we'd share and talk to the other parents, because I think a lot of parents nowadays will just sit at the end of the street, kind of have a neighborhood
into their driveway, they have a fire pit.
Parents. And I think that's actually kind of cool, because I look back, I wished our parents did that kind of thing. I think that would have been cool.
I don't like that though. I think part of the joy that I had as a trick or treater was going up to the door and waiting and anticipating, and then that whole thing. And now it's like people, they use it as a hangout outside, and it's just the kids don't even say trick or treat anymore.
Yeah. Did you have people actually say it?
I did. I do that. I was like, no. It's like they come to the door and they're just like,
okay, fine, trick or treat.
No, they just hold their bag out. I'm like, I'm not giving you candy unless you're saying trick or treat.
We actually had a magician in our neighborhood, and so he'd just do tricks. It was kind of cool.
I should just stand there with the hose next time. Say trick or treat.
And you spray him. Trick.
But yeah, it's just I don't know. It's become almost an expectation anymore. It doesn't seem like there's little kids and stuff that love it, But I think again it goes back to the parents, where the parents are encouraging it, teaching them, and all that. And there's other ones where it's just like they just want the candy. It's like I just want your candy. That's it. They don't even dress up half the time.
We did have that too.
Yeah.
Like, where's your costume? Oh, I'm a Karen. I'm a Karen.
That's awesome.
He actually had long hair.
Yeah.
And he's just dressed like in a sweatshirt and jeans.
Was it the Karen haircut like
It was just his normal
+8 or
long.
whatever?
He just had long hair, and it just and he had a bandana. And I'm like, I go, what are you supposed to be? And he goes, I'm a Karen.
Yeah.
And I just started laughing. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
give me your rant. And he actually had a pretty good rant.
Really?
I was
That's
like,
awesome.
that was pretty good.
No, I think it's something where it's like everything is becoming commercialized. But I think as parents, it's our job to reinstate the quality of it, the tradition of it, and get kids excited for it again.
Yeah, and I think it has come back a lot. I mean, I think last year when I saw my neighborhood was tons of kids, and it just was really cool. It was cool to see again, and I appreciate it. And we just want you guys to say, be safe on Halloween. I know it's a couple of weeks away, but enjoy it, appreciate it, be safe. Don't vandalize anybody's homes.
No.
There's no reason to
that's
vandalize
rude.
people's pumpkins. Kids took time to make those, so respect people's property. That's the other part of Halloween is
Right.
respecting the property. Not jumping through bushes and trampling stuff.
But then enjoy it. Make it something that's
Have fun.
enjoyable for your kids if you have them, for the neighborhood kids. Let's bring back the stuff that makes it really fun.
Yeah, happy Halloween, guys.
Happy Halloween.
Stay classy, Kansas City.
Oh yeah.
Hit
Don't
that
forget
like
to
and subscribe, and follow us.
Let us know what you think, and let us know what you want us to talk about.
Hey, put in the comments what your favorite candy is.
Yeah.
You never
Milky
know.
Way Dark.
Yeah. I have like 5.
Really anything.
I need it all.
Holy shit! You should have seen the look on your faces. And you? Who screams like that? You sound like a little girl. Hey, you guys coming or not? Ooh, I heard we should hit up Loch Nora. That's where the rich people live, right?
Hey, you made it to the end of the episode. Congratulations. Hit that like and subscribe button. Leave some comments for us, and tell your friends about us.
What just happened?
I don't know.